Jason is here.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jason Ward from MakingStarWars.net. And today we're going to talk about old Ventress coming back and what's going on with Star Wars and that story and stuff like that. I see the cynicism in the chat right now over it. Skywalker's Academy, thank you for being a channel member. As always, I appreciate it a lot. It means everything to me that people support the show, and supporting the show allows me to continue to do it and to make it, not at a personal cost to me. So it means a lot. Thank you. And you could also become a Patreon supporter if you don't want to do the Google, YouTube route or whatever. Also, you could do it on Spotify as well if you like the show on Spotify. So anyways, today we got this. So the Bad Batch is coming out. And it's actually coming out earlier than we expected, honestly. Some of the stuff that was kind of, some of the rumors a while ago had it to be a little ways away still now. But here we are. So good news, I'd say. And right here we have the official poster. Now, there's a big reveal in it, which obviously by the time anybody watches this, they've already have seen it. But Ventress is alive. That old bald chick is running around, still alive. So she's not that bald. She has her hair in this one. She's a little punk cut going. Before we watch the trailer, let's just check over on the Wikipedia, not to be the super boring guy who just reads Wikipedia, but here's how we last saw her. There's a hearing after the book, on the tail end. During the hearing, Kenobi speaks out that it was the folly of the Jedi Council to have considered using the tactic of assassination to eliminate Count Dooku, since it only led one close to the dark side. He also defends Ventress as a friend of the Jedi. Following the proceedings, Voss is pardoned for his crimes against the Jedi and the Republic. Kenobi also accompanies Voss to Dathomir to bury Ventress. Together, the two Jedi lay the Night Sisters to rest in a dark pool near the abandoned Night Sisters village. As Ventress' body enters the waters, the pool turns green, and the voices of the spirits of the deceased Night Sisters are heard welcoming Ventress back. Now, maybe we could take that last part to mean something different. If you've been following the Making Star Wars show for the last 6 months or last year, when it's come to the end of Ahsoka, when Thrawn is returning to Dathomir with all of those bodies, we believe it's to resurrect them. And my pet theory has been, oh man, that's going to mean Ventress gets to come back. Ventress will return because she's buried there. She is dead on that planet. If they resurrect everything, Ventress comes back. Well, it appears maybe that's not what they wanted to do with the story. Maybe that is what would happen if the Bad Batch didn't bring this character back. Right now, this is just my personal pet theory, but I think this story was likely created as to not have to tell that story, because it would be a ramification in the universe that would make sense, but not something that they actually wanted to do. That's just my theory here. But who knows? Maybe the show will get struck for watching the trailer, but let's try and watch it and see if we, if we care. Can everybody see it? I think you can. All right, here we go.
Hold on.
I'm going to turn the sound down as to not get, the video taken down.
We're running out of road.
But
Not exactly a stealth exit, boys.
Let's move.
I'll be honest, I'm not the biggest Bad Batch guy. I love the Clone Wars, but
Would mean an end to losing more of our brothers. But I was wrong.
I think this is going to be more interesting because the stuff has to matter here.
Not with the Empire imprisoning the kid. Secure her in a cell. Omega's been waiting for us a long time.
So she's just been in prison, doing hard time.
Not over yet.
February 21st, sooner than we thought.
To secure the future of this empire. When
whatever is needed to accomplish this goal, you will have it.
They are coming
Looks like we're seeing a lot of the same episode, probably. But
for all of you.
and Nala say what?
Give us a real challenge. Everyone down! We're not big on following orders.
I wasn't planning on killing you, but you're making it very tempting.
There we go. That was the trailer. Honestly, it didn't do a lot for me. I won't lie. I'm not gonna fake it. Oh my god, let me cry on stream right now.
Very
But
tempting.
it is exciting that Ventress is back. You know, I mean that part I care about. I never liked the idea that we weren't seeing her demise or her biggest, like her the end of her arc on, you know, on screen. Like, why would you do that? It's crazy, right? So the fact that we are getting more of her, and obviously her arc will continue, that's cool. I kept hoping though that what would happen was the Dark Disciple events would end up in Tales of the Jedi, because it kind of makes sense. You could see doing that, the main points of it, and, you know, in a 15-20 minute episode, and you know, it's fine. You know what I mean? Like I said, I have more faith in the last season, because the other seasons, like Bad Batch, was like this: make 8 episodes. Here's the core content that we want. The other 8 episodes use the assets of the important episode. That way they could like get double dip on it. Yeah, it's not just, I don't know if that's on purpose, but that's how it seems. So we end up with her dead, and then we end up with her now alive. And so a bunch of people bought Dark Disciple. And you know, Dark Disciple is the book that it's the one that told 4 or 5 episodes of the Clone Wars, and in those that were never produced because they canceled the show, that they still should have produced anyways. But before everybody starts groaning about is it canon or not, there's a really important thing here on the StarWars.com. You know, there's always that guy online, nothing is official until it's on StarWars.com. Okay, well, that guy is finally fucking right one time. Here we go. In addition to the Batchers now scattered following the events of season 2, the trailer includes some new creatures and familiar faces, including Wanda's. Like, nobody gives a fuck about the Wanda Sykes character. Come on, are you fucking kidding me? Anyways, it ends with the shocking appearance of fan favorite Sith apprentice turned free agent Asajj Ventress. We love Asajj Ventress. She's a character that we've been wanting to tell more stories about. Brad Rao, supervising director and one of the executive producers of the series, tells StarWars.org, and he makes clear that her return will honor prior tales, including the book in which the character apparently perished. We don't want to spoil anything, but want fans to know that any new storytelling with Ventress will align with the events of Star Wars Dark Disciple. So there you go. Any new storytelling with Ventress will align with the events of Dark Disciple. So, now, in my opinion, was it a good trailer? It was fine. But however, I'm not really invested in any of it. Like, Ventress coming back from another show is the thing that gets me about the trailer. So, I mean, it just, I don't know. I don't think it should be that way. I think that the show has a lot of good promise. You know, about 50% of it is worth watching, and 50% isn't. Unless you just want more, and, you know, quantity over quality matters. You know, hey, if you're having fun, you're having fun. I personally tested my patience last season. so many missed opportunities and so many shortcuts on the show. I don't blame the creators whatsoever. I think they're just doing the best that they can with limited resources. And so I got high hopes for it. That said, we'll see. Yeah, and once again, I'm not somebody who says, "Oh, I'm not saying something is bad or good." In this instance, I'm mostly just like, you know. So no, Joseph, Dark Disciple is not retconned. I'm going to guess the very obvious way of thinking the story is when Kenobi and Voss take her and put her in that pool, she's not being welcome home. She's just being resurrected. I'm going to assume maybe something like that happened. And so I guess things worked out okay for her, you know? And it on one hand, I could see people being a little bit annoyed, but I think, you know, I bought this book because it's supposed to be like the most important thing, really important thing. Now it's not, but when you really get down to it, I want to say like the book was like number 17 on the New York Times when it came out. It wasn't like a number 1 or anything like that. It probably did okay with sales, but it probably like is like just a fraction of the screen viewership, you know? And so I'm guessing this becomes probably more important for the greater good. Once again, I just think that they should have made Dark Disciple and Tales of the Jedi, and that would have been the way to do it. I'm still of the opinion, though, even with this information, that they could show all of that and show her live, show what happened, make that the addition, the new part. So I still hope something like that happens down the road, you know. Will Morgan says, channel member Will Morgan says, Ventress in Bad Batch is perfect full circle at the death of the Clone Wars. Yeah, and like you know, what her path is and where she goes is like interesting. Now, I want to see that. Should we be getting that at the end of the Bad Batch series? You know? That's like kind of the question that I would have for it, you know? Is that the way to go? Is this just like, I don't know. For the final episodes of the show, this is the most interesting part for me. And like, so I see that as a problem, you know, not trying to be a huge downer, but I'm glad that everything is canon. Nothing was retconned, so to speak. Well, was it retconned? I guess you could just debate that if you want to. Is it a retcon or a continuation? I'm of the opinion that serialized content, if you didn't see it happen on screen, it probably didn't happen, or nobody's locked into it, and anybody could come back. Anything can continue, because why wouldn't it, you know? But once again, yeah, like, well, Jedi Mike is like 10 years from now, the reintroduction won't really matter. And that's like the other thing is like, we haven't seen Ventress at all since pretty much the Disney acquisition. When you get down to it, like, other than that book, like, we weren't really getting a lot of new content with her. So, you know, I'm mixed. I've now watched the trailer 2 times. I watched it once in the morning when it first hit, and then I watched it just now with you guys. What are you guys' opinions on it? You know, give me a 1 if you're super excited, and a 2 if you're ambivalent, and a 3 if you just don't like it. You know, I'm more on the ambivalent. Like, I'm hoping the season could win me over. I'm hoping as I'm watching, I'm like, you know what, this is really coming together, and it's good. You know. And Craig, yeah. So hey, how's it going? Colin? Hey, so what type of guitar is your 12 string? It keeps moving it in and out of your background. Looks like a Martin. Yeah, it's a Martin. It's a Martin 12 string, and mine is the one I got is really ugly, and so it was like nobody wanted it, so it got really discounted at Guitar Center because it has like a weird blemish in the wood or whatever. And I was like, oh yeah, I don't care what it looks like. I just want to use it for recording purposes, thicken out my recordings. So yeah, I like to play Martins, but lately I've gone more towards the smaller Stella style guitars for just playing by myself. But yeah, Matthew says, if Maul can come back from being chopped in half and kicked down a bottomless shaft, anyone can come back. And that's the thing about the like Star Wars genre, and it's not science fiction. It has that fantasy element, and then also you'll hear people appealing to the serialized content, and that's what serialized content generally is: cliffhanger after cliffhanger. You thought I was dead, but I'm not. It's very soap opera ish, and I'm okay with that considering there's magic involved and that kind of stuff, especially in this arc. Hey, Tom. Tom says, I'm hype. Like watching Bad Batch. He likes watching Bad Batch with his son. Yeah, so that's my kids got over it, unfortunately. I tried. I was like, I always say this, I'm not overly outwardly negative about stuff when it's like Ghostbusters or Star Wars or whatever, like, kid-centric thing. I don't want, ruin their experience. But last season they jumped out. They just didn't care. And I was like, okay, Yeah, dude. They make a guitar called, like, I think it's a Martin, is it DX and a DM? Now, a D18 is the guitar that you want if you got the money. I had one for a long time. I had to sell it because of a stupid ex that wanted to do something. I never should have done that. Biggest mistake of my life. Well, it's up there. But yeah. But if you ever get a Martin D18, just keep that and never get another guitar. I mean, honestly, acoustic guitars anyways. Will says, Bad Batch is the best Disney has for hope on the future. Omega will be live action, and I feel is dog-eared to take Boba's place. See, I want that too, Will. But they also like piss me off because I don't think they meant to make that Boba Fett intrigue in the season that they did. We're like, oh, she's Boba's sister. Let's introduce that and then never explore it. Let's introduce that and never bring it up. That's why I'm like, once again, but her being Boba's sister and Ventress are two things more interesting than the show to me. And, I mean, after that, it's just mostly, I feel like it's just a bunch of A-team antics. Like, oh, me big guy, me scared of helicopter, and shit like that. It's fine, but it doesn't win me over. I get a lot of, things of a shield soy boy kind of bullshit all the time. And it's just like, nah, I don't just go with anything because it has the Star Wars logo on it, But once again, I'm not saying that you guys can't enjoy what you enjoy. And sometimes I go back and forth on some of this stuff, like the crappier things. Sometimes I'll watch the Ewok movies and I'll be like, I had a pretty good time watching that. I'm not going to lie. Other times I can't stand to watch 2 seconds of it. Ooh, Will says Padme is not coming back. Yeah, I think they missed the boat on that one, and I don't think they would have brought her back anyways, in a meaningful way. The Kenobi series was the place to like do something with her if they were ever going to, and they opted not to. I don't think Natalie Portman's heart would be in it, to be honest. So that's why I don't personally like care if they ever do it, if they ever do something with it or with her. But, post-death stuff, haunting Anakin could be fun in the right context and if written well. The VR game Vader Immortal did an interesting job as using Padme as sort of a plot device that I really appreciated. Once again, something that most people won't get to experience because it's in VR. But it's really good. It's a really good game and a really good story on that one, But oh no, I lost Tom. Tom's like, you know what, man? I thought we were Bad Batch bros. No, I'm a Clone Wars guy. I can't lie. I don't think Bad Batch is as worthy of a successor to the Clone Wars as it could have been. I think it should. I should like Bad Batch more than Star Wars Rebels, and I don't. But yeah, Portman's heart ain't in a damn thing. You're right, Will. It's true. for the most part, she has been checked out for some time. Tom, I've heard your request. No, get back in, Tom. You're not going anywhere. I'm sorry. I can't allow it. But, however, yeah, Star Wars Fitz says Clone Wars was okay, I guess. Yeah, well, that's the thing with Clone Wars being in that anthology style. It just allows for there to be great stories told, and that's what I like about Tales of the Jedi. Tales of the Jedi, I think that format is the way to go in the future for Star Wars animation. That's what I would prefer they do, because the anthology style just allows you freed up to tell stories you want to tell. And if you don't do that, then you end up on a path of, as the Bob podcast calls it, Fat Bosk just giving mission after mission again. And there's some good stuff in those missions for sure, but there's also stuff that just it feels like filler. It doesn't feel very special. And obviously Dave Filoni has moved on. And I think that the creators of that show that are running it, I think they're probably kind of like have their hands tied to Filoni to some extent about what he wants to do, but then he's not really there doing it. So I think we end up with a less than inspired series so far. Oh, thanks for the super chat, Tom. I forgive you for having bad taste. That's fair. And for $2, I'll take the forgiveness and the $2 anytime. And I do appreciate the support, Tom. Yeah. Sabersmith says, do we know if the Kinders are doing the music this season? I hope so. I believe so, because I think that they were dropping like hints about their work on it over the production, and people were like, oh my God, that means the trailer is tonight. Every single time they would hear that, that's what they would say. For like the last month or something, the trailer is coming tomorrow, but now it's finally here. And I mean, I'm so surprised by the earliness of that release date, though. I'm glad. Star Wars Fit says, I love Tales of the Jedi. We also need Tales of the Sith, Santa's favorite Darth Plagueis. Yes, I am with you. I think that is the way to move forward. And in doing so, with those anthology style shows, you could still do Bad Batch episode if you want to. A story with a Bad Batch should one arise, That's why I'm not super down with like this like one concept series. I would prefer it to be bigger, but is what it is. But Hyperspace Heroes podcast says Ventress could be a clone and maybe Filoni's Joris Sabath from his Mando Avengers movie. Well, see, that's what I was thinking was going to happen. I was thinking that not Mother Talzin. What's the witch from Ahsoka? What's her name again? Drawing a blank on her. Morgan Elsbeth. I was thinking that when Morgan Elsbeth and the witches get back to Dathomir and they take those caskets, they're going to resurrect all the witches and the fallen troopers. And like I said, I thought in that we would have Ventress come about and be like this foil for the whole thing. Maybe even diverting, sort of causing a civil war between them at some point. Because why would you help any of those people? Everybody is pretty much dead because of the people that the witches are currently supporting. So I still think the witches have like an ulterior motive with it, with Thrawn, Maybe they want to bring back the sun. Maybe they want to bring up upon the apocalypse. Maybe they're evil witches. Seems so. But anyways, Tom thinks that season 1 was much stronger than season 2. Yeah, it's like, I'm cool with character building, world building moments like that, but some of it was clearly just filler. And the inability to, like, once again, the big gripe we had, you do the minecart from Temple of Doom. You even acknowledge that the minecart from Temple of Doom exists in Hollywood. And that's what you did with it? With Star Wars? I mean, come on, guys. That just lets me down. And but I'm happy Ventress is back. I know I'm probably coming off more of a little bit of a downer than I mean to. I'm excited about the future of the character and what it can mean and where it could go. And there's big questions that should be like, I assumed I knew how they would bring Ventress into the Ahsoka series and how that would go. But it's worth throwing out there now that it's not gonna go that way. But was this done for that reason? Is this work that needs to be done for the future of Star Wars? And I think you could argue that it could be. Also, it could just be in case of emergency, break Ventress glass and make animated fans happy. And that would be a shame if that's all that it is. I think until we see more, we should brace ourselves for it to be something as shallow and stupid as that. But maybe this is going to have huge ramifications, and maybe this is going to like lead to bigger storytelling opportunities. If it does, then I'm all for it, you know? And it still being canon means that Quinlan Voss's canon story is still intact as well. Skywalker's Academy says Quinlan helps the path at times during Kenobi's timeline. Yeah, and that's like the other question is, do we end up having Ventress helping on that? Anybody with the Force too during the quote dark times is going to be a target. Is going to have a target on their back. Is going to be a problem to the Empire. And anybody who's not an Inquisitor or in the service of Palpatine is a threat. So her future going forward isn't going to be super safe. I don't think she could go around using the Force and stuff. She does end up going bounty hunter and works for Boba Fett and actually kind of finds her moral bearings in the Clone Wars episode where she's supposed to basically participate in child trafficking. Boba Fett's down to sell this little girl as like a child bride. And she's like, no, she won't go with it. And that's when we start to see her sort of breaking into her own moral consciousness, you know, not following what others are telling her and being like, that's clearly wrong. I'm not going to do it. And so by the time we get to the character in this show, she should mostly be a good character, more aligned with the light. Kenobi and Voss call her a friend of the Jedi, which at the end of the day, if that's on record, at the end of the Clone Wars, she's a friend of the Jedi Ventress, and then the Jedi are seen as killers after Order 66. There's no way Ventress is free to roam around, and I don't think she goes to Inquisitor school or anything like that. It doesn't seem like that would be the case. KG says Ventress as damage control. I wouldn't say like damage control, but I am afraid it's just like, who could we put in there? You know what I mean? What's the big thing we can do? I hope, however, the story introduces Ventress into the Bad Batch arc at the very end of it, I hope it's worth it, because it does feel a little bit like, hey, look over there, you know, kind of stuff. Is it going to be that? I hope not. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. You know what I mean? But yeah. So just Rigby says, what's going on with Ventress? Someone catch me up. Well, Ventress died in Dark Disciple. That book is still canon according to StarWars.com. There is a trailer where you see her pop out at the end of the trailer. So that's pretty much all that we know at the moment. And like I said, I was expecting the next time we saw Ventress would likely be in live action and likely in Star Wars Ahsoka when they resurrect the planet of Dathomir. But since she has already been resurrected, that is now off the table. You know? And I was like kind of surprised that theory was like so quiet. Like for all of the dumb theories that you see catchy, that was the one that actually made sense. And that one's off the table now. And I'm guessing they're doing this for that reason. It's this helps the Bad Batch, and it probably helps that. So anyways, I think that's pretty much all that there is to the story right now. I don't know if I have anything more to say on it. I'm going to think about it for a bit, but I just wanted to come out on here, get a quick show going right now so we can talk about it, so you guys can know what the big news was, because this is big news, especially if you've been following Clone Wars for, you know, all those years, and then you get all the way to Rebels. We didn't get a sign of her in Rebels. In fact, when they were making Rebels, they told us she was dead. So she has a future now, and she didn't, you know, as far as we knew, yesterday she didn't have one. Today she does. And that could mean really big things for the future Star Wars movies. I mean, she could die in this show. She could live on. And so we might have a lot more Ventress coming down the road. Dave Filoni was obviously promoted. Dave Filoni was the person with George Lucas who was doing the Clone Wars that whole time, telling her story. And then it was when George Lucas left, I would say in certain ways, Dave Filoni was demoted, not officially, but in the sense that he wasn't just, you know, George Lucas's like right-hand director. You know what I mean? At that point. And then we see her go away. Now Dave Filoni is very, very prominent in the creative process at Lucasfilm. And we see that she's not dead. She's coming back. I do think that the novel Dark Disciple was sad that they had to do it that way. It was fucked up, to be honest with you. They should never have canceled the Clone Wars. They should never have released that book that way. They should have made that arc. We got another season of Clone Wars after, years later, and of course they didn't make that arc because of the book. And that arc still probably would have been great to like see. So I guess the good news is, with this story and with her becoming more prominent, more important, the Dark Disciple arc becomes less important, but now more likely to be made someday in some form. So, yeah, Skywalker's Academy suggests Omega might be a backdoor, but Rey's story needs to be told to get people to care about her. People find her uninteresting if they don't see what some of us do see. Yeah, that's the thing about that character, is that she has a ton of potential. They've made a ton of attributes to Omega that makes it possible for her to be huge, for there to be really important. Excuse me. But are they going to do it? Is it going to matter? And, you know, is it going to be compelling? I don't know. I'm going to watch the series when it hits, you know. I'll go over and review every single episode. I'll try to be as fair to it as I can be. You know, but I've always been open that it hasn't won me over. In fact, Star Wars animation for me has slowly declined over the last couple of years. I think as Filoni's become more prominent in live action, the animated stuff has fallen to the wayside, become less important, become less prominent, bold, and pronounced. And I don't blame the people that are making it. I don't think that they have any control over it. I hear things every now and then about why a choice was made or something like that. And I was like, I just have a little bit of empathy for their general position. But anyways, Saber Smith says, George and Dave created some great characters. It's nice to see some of them again. And it definitely is. And a lot of the Bad Batch's spaceship looks real, says Bill Morgan. And it's like, yeah, some of those spaceship shots in that trailer are very, very good, for sure. But anyways, we're going to call it a day for this right now. Leave a comment. Make sure you guys like the video. Leave a comment if you have anything, you know, that you want to say. And when we get to the next show, we'll definitely touch on this topic again. And if there's any developments, I'll, of course, come back and report them promptly. I promise. Everyone, thank you for liking the video, for being a channel member, a Patreon supporter. I appreciate it so much. And I will see you guys next time.